All right, I think we're back. Is that right, Maddie?
Not yet, actually. Give me 1 second.
Hey, Maddie, are we back? Okay, cool. Sorry about the delay, and let's jump right back into talking about the sort of reasoning behind the update with Morris talking about the branding.
Awesome. Yeah, so as you've seen the new logo and thought about it, you might have seen that there's a tree in there. So that's definitely something we wanted to continue because we really like this metaphor of the learning tree, where the branches sort of are like resemble the branches you create while learning. You're branching out into new areas, topics, and you're just expanding your horizon basically. And yeah, then we picked this new color because it's it kind of symbolizes some novelty. It's not like the simple blue you see every day, but it's actually like a blue mixed with purple. So yeah, we found that that was a great choice. Also, shout out to Unfold, who designed this logo. And yeah, great supporters. What else can you say? And yeah, I think Andres can say much more about the actual like design system, kind of how we try to like what kind of approach we take there. But yeah, the logo is there's some elements of a brain also when you see like the shape. It's kind of like the shape of a brain. And if you haven't seen it, there's also a writing utility in there. Yeah, I leave it up to the audience to notice that. But yeah, I'd say it's interesting, and yeah, that's it from my side.
Cool. Okay, then let's keep going with the next discussion here, which is Andreas just talking about the general new design aesthetic and goals for the UI language in the product going forward.
Yeah, so our first goal with this redesign was to make the product simpler. During the last couple of months, we noticed that the app was really powerful, but it didn't feel, easy to use. Features were hard to understand, and things on the long term were really complex. So our goal was to make sure that it was super easy for you to achieve flow. And to do that, we needed to make our product as simple as possible so that anyone new to the product could, become a power user as fast as possible, and that regular or power users could be more efficient than they already were without breaking their workflows, right? So one of the first and most important changes we did, although this doesn't seem that important, was changing the font. Fonts are, well, the internet's language, right? So we switched to InterUI, a typography optimized for web browsing, and we also made it bigger so that you could read your notes from a larger distance, and you could just study and be happy with that. Another important change we did was removing the bottom toolbar from the UI because that was just polluting the product and stopping you from getting into the real things you care about, right? So we removed that and we switched that to a toolbar that only appears when you highlight text. You can use that to bold, use italics, or just change highlight formatting. Another important change we did, this is more of an internal thing, but we changed the color palette we use to make sure that everyone in the world with every single type of disabilities or cultural backgrounds can use and understand the product more effectively. We switched to this RemNote new blur pool color that's a little bit more calming and relaxed and doesn't feel too corporate like the one we had before. Yeah, and we also revamped a couple of things like the slash menu that now has a better ability to add or change elements. And we introduced this new omnibar that is created to, just enable you to have another layer of abilities in your app to, add elements, change text, and just go from one side to the other.
Yeah, I know that every little pixel takes a while to fix, but so past that now, and we're really pleased internally that you guys seem to be liking it as well. Cool. So then the next thing we wanted to cover here was the new lightweight portals. This was another thing that took a sort of number of iterations and a lot of feedback, and Karthik is going to be talking about that a bit.
Hey, Ron. So one of the major pieces of RemNote to me personally, and from what we've heard from the community, was that we have this amazing translution engine through portals, which allows users to pull in information from various parts of the knowledge base, and then you can play around with it, and you can actually interact with it on any document that you're working on. And the major high level point that helped here was that you don't have to really rely on thinking about where a piece of information has to go, and rather you should be focusing upon getting that information down, working on it, and then learning and trying to internalize it, and worry much less about the whole organization of it. And because of all this, portals seem like a really important thing that we should be redesigning. And the old version of it just felt like too heavy for the UI. And that was a constant pain point that the users spoke about, and we wanted to fix that. And with this new update, now portals are designed to be as unobtrusive as possible. They are now completely aligned with the regular bullets, and you will probably never notice that there is information coming from another part of the knowledge base until you actually focus on it. And we came to this after a lot of iterations. We had really different ideologies of how portal should function, should look like, and we had a lot of heated debates. And then after all that, we decided, okay, this looks the neatest for now. Let us know how you feel. And we're also trying to improve the whole UX around it, like jumping into portals and jumping out of them. And we now have a new ability to create portals just like how you would create a reference or a tag. So play around with it and let us know what you feel about it. And this is just the beginning, like just like everything else with RemNote.
Cool, thanks. And then the final thing we wanted to chat about here in terms of the update overview was the Omnibar. We did mention this a bit earlier as well. The whole goal with the Omnibar is to enable better streamlined keyboard navigation throughout the tool. We want RemNote to work at the speed of thought, is the sort of internal way that we phrase it. And this both involves navigating on different parts of the app, batch editing rem, activating any feature, and really just manipulating things in the way that you want. That was sort of the first main goal. And the second was to make it easier to both discover and trigger different commands. So we've, of course, maintained the existing keyboard shortcut system, and that's going to be something that we continue to support and build on, of course. But the Omnibar also provides a quick way to activate any command without having to memorize the keyboard shortcut. So in a sense, this felt kind of similar to that earlier principle. Some stuff you want to memorize, some stuff you want to externalize. Here, you can just now type /red, and you don't need to sort of worry about it. The tool will remember it for you. So those are just sort of 5 points of the update. We did write a rather long changelog, so congrats to those of you who slogged through reading that. If the rest of you are interested, definitely go check that out on the site. And we're nearing the end here. So we had scheduled this for 30 minutes and we're already a bit over time, but we're just going to finish up with more FAQs. So definitely seeing more questions in the chat about the iOS app that's coming. We know you guys care a lot about that. Android app with backlinks also mentioned a little bit before that we've done sort of the first, quarter of the mobile redesign in this update, but there's a lot more that we're building in terms of first-class mobile components, sort of making them fit well within the screen, as well as enabling those different search and linking modalities on the app. I see a question about where the settings option is went. So you can either access that from the Omnibar. I would encourage you to say that if you ever can't find anything within RemNote, just press Control/, bring up the Omnibar and search for it. You can actually even search for and toggle settings within the Omnibar itself now. So Control/dark mode works, for example, or you can just do Control/settings. So that's the first way that you can open it. If you want to access it from your mouse, you can just click on your name in the top left and then click on settings from that pop-up there.
Yeah, I also see the question, how do you create mind maps? So unfortunately, like this exact function is right now not existing yet, but we have a graph view where you can achieve something similar. So just type, our domain remnote.com/graph. You can also access that via the document menu on the top right of each of the documents. And yeah, feel free to play around with that if you haven't seen this this feature.
We've also seen, so we had collected some questions beforehand. We had seen a number of sort of questions about the direction of the graph view there as well, if we're going to upgrade it. And I wanted to shed some light on that. So the first thing is that we kind of view the graph view almost as an educational tool. The graph view makes it really clear that you should kind of think about RemNote from the perspective that everything is connected and that part of your core activity is connecting together different rem. The second equally useful purpose of the graph view, in at least my opinion, is to enable fast exploration among your backlinks. So you can, in the current iteration, go and click on a bullet, or like alt click on it to expand it, navigate around your view that way, and find new insights that you hadn't found before. Now, that said, the graph view is definitely not in its final state. We want to both add a bunch to it in terms of honestly just making it more aesthetic, as well as adding better features. So that's the first side of things. And the second part is that this drawing feature that we've been sort of mentioning about coming later down the line will take some of the workflows that currently make sense in the graph view, such as drawing arrows between things or sort of dragging them around, and we'll try to make that kind of free-form canvas type of thinking work well in that drawing mode. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's something that we'll care about, a bit of a longer-term project, but we're working on it. There's a question here about how one invests in RemNote. So that's unfortunately not directly an option at this time, but there are a lot of ways that you can support us, and we do appreciate all that. So first is if you want our pro features and sort of have the financial capacity to, obviously getting a subscription or lifelong learners is directly what fuels our growth. Every dollar just goes back into sort of hiring more people. You can see that the team has more than doubled since the last call, and it will continue to do so. That's the first thing. And then the second is just, the second way is kind of giving us feedback and suggestions. We do read that carefully, and that's very useful. And then the third is just helping us grow, sharing RemNote with your friends. There was another question about the roadmap. I think that was also probably missed earlier, but we did discuss that. So feel free to look at the sort of recording of this video, and we'll also be releasing a more sort of concise version of it in our help database. Let's see. So I see we got a number of questions ahead of time about better support for different payment methods. We are aware that this is an issue for international users especially, and it's something that we've been trying to fix. The immediate next thing that we're trying to activate there is Alipay for our Chinese community. We've been working with Stripe on that. It'll take a little bit longer, but it's something that's coming out. We obviously want to make it easy for you to use our pro features. What else? So there's a question here about data security. So that is priority number 0 for us, priority number 1, whatever you want to call it. We want you to have complete confidence in your notes in RemNote. There's a number of precautions that we take there. First, we've locked on as much as possible any access to our production database. It's there are so it's all sort of encrypted at rest. This is different than having sort of personal encryption keys, so just something to be open and about and aware of. And there are definitely sort of subtleties here that I'm glad that our community cares about. What else to mention? So the sort of different components to the security are sort of physical security with getting access to either our machines or sort of passwords that can get into the tool, sort of security on the team with sort of spoofing, security in the code with vulnerabilities that could leak access. And we take each of these pretty seriously. If you do have any concerns about any of those three categories, we do make our completely offline local desktop app available as well. So if there's something super confidential, then that would be a place for it where you could have the utmost confidence. Obviously, again, security is priority 0 for us for the main app as well. So I wouldn't be overly concerned because we try to take care of that concern for you in the team. What else? There are other features like sort of REM level or knowledge base level encryption that we've explored. Definitely don't know if that'll fit into the future roadmap or not, but it is something that would be exciting for us. We really don't want your data in a sense. Your data is a sort of a responsibility for us, doesn't really give us any value. So we try to make sure that's as careful as possible. So there was a question about our sort of financial sustainability. I think what I'll say is there's things that are going pretty well there. I'm really happy to be supported by you guys. Again, every dollar just sort of goes back into hiring more people and making the tool better. And obviously this fundraising round gives us a lot of time to really focus on sort of long-term thinking and make sure that things are as good as possible. There was also a question about our hiring process. So we're very careful about who we bring onto the team. We set a pretty high bar, as I imagine you've been able to tell. That's the sort of first reason that we've been sort of going slowly and steadily with it. That said, we are trying to aggressively hire. If you know someone great, if you're personally excited about what we're trying to build here, please do apply. I'd love to talk to you, yeah. There's some questions about our internals, such as what programming language that we use to build RemNote. So RemNote is mostly built with a language called JavaScript. This is the language that most websites on the browser are built in. And we use it both in the browser as well as on our server. For those who are sort of familiar with this, we actually use TypeScript, basically all TypeScript and React. We have a lot of sort of custom built reactivity and internal component frameworks that we sort of share throughout the code base. And on the back end, we're using just sort of basic Express and Mongo. Our back end is pretty lightweight because everything sort of works in the client. So if you're excited about that stack, then that's another reason to join us as well. I see a question here about our upcoming tutorial videos. Maddie, do you want to maybe chat about that?
Yeah, so as you guys know, RemNote has gone through a giant redesign, and it is a steep learning curve to RemNote. So I'm working closely with Mike right now actually to kind of develop a whole new playlist of tutorials, walkthroughs, use cases, as much as possible, just to make RemNote as easy to use for everyone and just to show all the different possibilities there are. We're planning to kind of consolidate multiple playlists as well. Playlists meant for students, for researchers, for writers, all of the features that you might feel like you need in those different categories we really just want to make this a system where we can all be Rem masters and, just use this tool to the best of our ability. So we'll be rolling those out hopefully every week for the next few months. And as more features come in, more ideas come in, I'll be making more and posting them on YouTube. So definitely subscribe and you'll be notified when those come out.
So we had a offline question about different advanced queue features. We did mention this a little bit earlier, that there's a bunch on the space repetition side that we're excited about exploring or implementing. And I guess I just wanted to make sure we made it clear that that is something that we are continuing to invest in. Let's see this. So there was some discussion about Kanban boards in the chat. There's some cool custom CSS that I would encourage you to check out in the forums. Oh, I see someone already suggested that as well. That kind of thing will also hopefully become easier with the upcoming sort of extensions. So there's a question here about the removal of the hidden rem, hidden lines indicator. So that's basically been split in two. So one of the changes that we made in this update was separating out the toggling behavior from the hiding behavior. Before, these were sort of intertangled, where if I hid something, toggled it, collapsed, and then re-expanded it, the hide would have been forgotten. It would be reshown, and there was no way to sort of persistently save that. So because we separated that out, we had to go and sort of clean up the different parts of the UI there. So the replacement for the X hidden lines thing is in two places. So first, if you toggle the rem collapsed, the bullet point will have sort of a gray border around it that lets you indicate it as hidden children. Then if the rem is partially open, where some of its children are there, but others are hidden, there's now a new sort of eye symbol at the bottom that says something like three hidden. So I would check that out there. Definitely let us know if you find that confusing. So I see a question about changing flashcard interval settings. I would definitely check out our custom schedulers, such as the advanced Anki version. We do have some good functionality there. Definitely we want to expand. Why is RemNote not well supported on an iPad yet? Something that we're working on. Building a rich text editor has a lot of different edge cases on different browsers, so we do care about it. It's just not super easy. There's another question about the update schedule. So we're going to be trying to return to sort of the or sort of at least the monthly release cycle. Hopefully we can get a bit faster than that as well, especially as the team continues to expand. Definitely not planning to go through and rebuild everything from the ground up again. I'm glad that we did it, but it was a little painful. There's questions about expanding the PDF reader. So that was something that honestly didn't get much love yet. We're going to be addressing that sort of as sort of the second rolling phase of this redesign that we're working on, both in terms of cleaning up the UI elements there, as well as sort of filing down the different rough edges and cleaning things up a bit more. There's a question about hiring. So yeah, we're definitely trying to hire people from a number of different roles. So the sort of core thing that we definitely need right now are just more software engineers. But there's a number of different roles as well. So we're also probably looking for another designer, some people to help us with copywriting, others who sort of deeply understand the concepts behind RemNote, both on the sort of research side as well as how we're trying to build things. So, yep, as Dennis suggests, definitely just take a look at our career page.
And another important role is definitely the growth person or head of growth, however you want to call it, that has like some experience building a software startup or a software as a service startup. So if you know anybody that previously worked in such a role in a startup in kind of like a similar stage, maybe even in the educational or like productivity space, yeah, please let us know or mention this product to this person. This would really help us.
Cool. So, yep. Well, Harry. So I think that we've hopefully hit the majority of the questions here. I think we've hit all the ones on the list that we collected beforehand. We are going to continue to be answering questions throughout the day on Product Hunt, so definitely come and say hello to us there if you haven't done so so far. The hello is very appreciated. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Definitely looking forward to getting back to sort of the normal swing of things, interacting with all of you. And as always, thanks for the support. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody. And thanks for the team to stick around. And yeah, see you guys.
Thank you all.
Thanks.